Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wynette, and joining me now from the Young Naperville Singers is Naveen Michael. She's the board president. Welcome to the show, Naveen.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, I know that it has been a very challenging time for you since we've had the stay-at-home order. So walk me through a little bit, if you would. What happened with Young Naperville Singers the middle of March as those orders start to come into place? And then what's been going on for you in April and May and now into June?
Yeah, great questions. The minute we started to, even before school shut down, we knew that something was happening, and we knew that we had to pivot and shift almost immediately. So we went into action right away. We lobbed onto technology, Zoom calls. How do we create virtual space for all of our choirs? And what we did is we took, between March and spring break, we took kind of like snow days, 2 snow days, to just kind of figure ourselves out, right? And go into instruction, because the last thing we wanted to do is get our kids in virtual space where it was not meaningful. So right after spring break, we were ready to launch immediately. Same choirs, same formats, but virtually. And our directors and accompanists did an incredible job of engaging our students in their rooms, same nights. We kept our schedule the same and made sure that our interactions, while they were different, we wanted to make sure they were impactful. And our focus shifted to music sustainability, music sustenance, continued music excellence, music delivery. We also knew, because music is so important to the mental health of our youth, we wanted to make sure that we continued that on a high level so that we continue the mental health connections that students needed now more than ever, being at home and not interacting face-to-face with their peers. So we're very mindful of how music plays such a positive role on mental health and making sure that that continued.
Yeah, I love your analogy. We took a couple of snow days, because I've talked with a lot of educators who were like, yeah, we were ready with the snow days on the instruction, but we were not expecting 2.5 months of snow days, right? So yeah. I love that analogy. But describe for our viewers, if you would, Naveen. So when they're in their rooms, are you doing this through Zoom? How is that working for your rehearsals?
Yeah, there's so many different ways that we did it. So we definitely did it through Zoom. And then the directors also did one-on-one music time with their students. We also did a lot of, and this is where I'm going to use my cheat sheet, like sight reading experiences. We are creating master classes. They had miniature grids that they had to create. So there was a lot of individual learning as well, along with the Zoom classes. So we created enrichments around the Zoom experience so that the student felt connected and felt that there was a goal throughout their YNS experience the last 2.5 months.
So Naveen, you talked a little bit about how you pivoted to help your students keep that student enrichment and that joy through music, and obviously impact their mental health. But you have a lot of wonderful choral directors. So talk about how that worked for them and how you sustained your staff during this time period.
Yeah. So our staff is absolutely incredible. They understood the importance of music and staying connected with their students. They formed a bond all year. They wanted to make sure that we were successful with that music excellence delivery. So because we were able to provide them with the tools of the Zoom classes and all the technology that they had at their fingertips, and a lot of them are educators also, so they saw the shifts within their own classrooms. They seamlessly, it wasn't without effort, because the truth is, Jane, they are putting in a lot more effort into these Zoom classes than they are in that, face-to-face instruction. They just wanted to make sure that it was such high quality and that delivery of instruction did not suffer because they were now in a virtual space. So that was important to them. So the integrity, the character of our staff really helped. And then let's not even forget, we could not have done this without our office staff. They're working tirelessly around the clock to make sure that everybody's up and running. Everybody has the technology. Everybody has the bandwidth.
So Naveen, obviously your staff have really embraced technology. You've got a lot of new ways of trying to deliver your music. As you look forward and we consider, the opening up into phase 4 and then ultimately into phase 5, how do you see your work at the Young Naperville Singers progressing?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And this is something we actually started working on back in April. And what we've done is we've created 3 different scenarios depending on what phase 4 looks like and when phase 4 will actually happen. So we've created hybrids of in-person instruction, virtual instruction, and then both. And we've already had lots of communication with our staff, letting them know what it is that, to anticipate the different scenarios. The really cool thing is we've started registration. We've had a lot of people still engaged with registration, knowing that we may be virtual half the year. And we've had some parents reach out and say, even though we're virtual, even though my child is zoomed out, music is such an important connection. Please, please, please continue INS in the fall. And we would never not. I mean, we're so excited about looking forward to a wonderful, through challenges come opportunities, right? So we've already, connected with a few world-renowned composers, musicians. Jim Papoulis, who's absolutely incredible. He is coming back and he's doing a virtual songwriting workshop with us. There is another wonderful world-renowned composer, Tracy Wong. Tracy Wong is coming in and she specializes in Malaysian music. And Tracy is going to do a virtual connection with our students around Malaysian music, Malaysian dance. So it's kind of cool. It's an opportunity that we're discovering this virtual space. And what it does is it connects choirs and musicians virtually seamlessly. So I think even when we go back to face-to-face instruction, we are definitely going to keep a lot of this virtual attributes within our curriculum. We are taking the opportunity to write a very strong music theory, music literacy program. So we are looking for ways to enrich our students and their lives, and it lives beyond this virtual space. Even when we meet face to face, they will have those enriched opportunities, so to speak, and make it a richer, fuller experience.
So those are really, you've really learned some positive lessons. There are things that sometimes, we think very negatively around the pandemic, but out of crises comes some good things. And it sounds like you've figured out some new ways that you will add to your program going forward.
Absolutely. It's actually kind of exciting. Our artistic director, Angie Johnson, is masterminding weekly, if not daily, with a lot of incredible choral directors around the country, and they're putting together some really great ideas. And this week is actually Chorus America's virtual conference, and 4 of our board members are joining. Our 2 of our staff members, including Angie Johnson, is joining, and she's actually on a panel presenting about virtual space and how do you direct in a virtual space? How do you lead a choir in a virtual space? So we're excited about the learning opportunities and the implementations that come with those opportunities.
So it sounds like, you're kind of in the sense that you're building your community again with your families and with your students, but you're also part of that larger choral community across the country and across the world, right? So, there's that opportunity to learn some of those best practices and pivot and be creative together.
Absolutely. And it does make it exciting. Through technology, a world has been opened up to us. And we're like, gosh, we could have done this before. Why didn't we think about it? So that part of it is exciting. Yeah. To understand what content we could deliver to our students through technology is really pretty cool, and we can geek out over it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's nice. Now, as we start to wrap up here, Naveen, I know, like many organizations, but yours in particular, you often are with young children all the way through graduation. And I know you did a lot as we got around May to honor and say goodbye to your seniors. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was fun. So we were one of the very first ones to actually put together a parade. I think we had 25 seniors. I can't remember, 7 different towns, 5 or 6 hours, and we drove to as far east as Hinsdale and as far west as Yorkville, and we surprised every graduate with a car parade. And community is the center of who we are, and that part is important. We need to show every member how important and how valued they are, and we always honor our seniors on stage, and this was our way of honoring them and make sure that they knew how much we love them and how much we wish them well, and how they'll always be a part of the YNS family. Always, once you're part of the YNS family, you're forever part of the YNS family. So yeah, that part was important, and it was one of my highlights, actually, of this entire pandemic. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so much, you're part of a family for a long period of time. Your group has traveled together, they perform together. So there are some very unique bonds, and particularly when you're not just in the same school together. I think that also creates some very different relationships, right?
Oh, absolutely. And one thing is we pull in from 18 different communities, not just Naperville. So it does create a very strong connection within those 18 different communities. And we love that. We love seeing how kids across towns really know each other. And they wouldn't have otherwise. And lifelong friendships emerge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I close out here, Naveen, one last thought. If you were to pick one thing that you feel going forward that YNS will be that much better off for, what would that be?
The strength in learning how to pivot, learning how to shift, and understanding how important music is to all of us, to the staff, to the students, and that determination to continue delivering music excellence and music sustainability will really drive us even forward and even more. And it really shores up our mission statement and our vision for why we do this. We say sing, grow, lead. And I think we've been singing. Our hashtag is keep singing. We've been growing. And we continue to empower our youth to lead and become leaders in their own community. And this pandemic has allowed us to continue with all of that on an even higher level.
That's awesome. Thank you so much to you and the YNS. I know that we look forward to the day when we can see the choirs back on stage and hear them in person. But in the meantime, we wish you all the best with the continual virtual and the growth that you're having with your organization. So thank you for joining me on Spotlight.
Jane, thank you. This is such a pleasure. Thank you for being a great friend to YNS. We love NCTV.
Thank you. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Spotlight.